I just wanted to do a video about the subject of the flat Earth. Um, I wanted to give a couple reasons for why I personally choose not to believe, in the heliocentric model. For those that don't know, a heliocentric model, which you should know because that's what you were told in school. The heliocentric model is Wait a second. Okay, is the model of the globe Earth, infinite, outer space that we were all told in school, but a geocentric model, which is what most of the civilizations on Earth, believed in, for thousands of years, which is also now known as the flat Earth model. That's the difference, right? The flat Earth is the geocentric model of the universe, right? The Earth is stationary, and the sun, moon, and stars are the ones revolving over the Earth. But as far as the heliocentric model, the sun is in the center, and the Earth and the other planets are in a motion around the sun. Just to clarify the difference between the two. But I just wanted to, give a couple, reasons for why I reject the globe model of the universe, right? Because I think there are some very valid reasons for why what we were told in school about the world we live in, simply just don't add up, to observable fact. I do want to start off with saying this as well. This isn't something that I just looked into last week. I've looked at what's the word I'm looking for? I've looked into this subject for I want to say 6 or 7 years. Back when this was like popular, back in like what was it, 2016? By 2016, this topic took the internet by storm. So when I was 14 years old, I looked into it. I would watch these 8 hour back and forth debates between everybody. Usually would listen to one every day or so, sometimes multiple of them a day. Back then, the topic of the flat Earth, you could just look up on YouTube, just type in the word flat Earth or flat Earth proofs or globe versus flat Earth debate, and you would find hundreds, thousands of videos, both trying to support the idea of a flat Earth and on the other hand, trying to debunk or disprove the topic of a flat Earth. However, today, if you were to do this search, the only thing you'll get for the first 200 pages are videos of people trying to debunk and to disprove the idea of a flat Earth. Give me a second. To start off with, one of the things, that I, happen to notice, when these people have these discussions about the topic, people try to say, oh, well, I saw the curvature of the Earth, outside of, an airplane window, at 37,000 feet. Another person will try to argue and say, well, I've seen the curve of the Earth at the seashore because I saw, a boat go over the horizon, and we'll see that's the curve of the Earth. Or another person will say, well, in order to see it, you got to be at the top of like a hotel building or maybe the top of a mountain. And then world famous astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson comes out and says, hey, look, you can't even see the curvature of the Earth. You can't see any curvature of the Earth from 127,000 feet, he said, when he was doing a commentary on this, this Red Bull jump by Felix Baumgartner back in 2012, right? You can look it up if you're not familiar with it, right? But this guy, Felix, went up to 127,000 feet. They call it the edge of space jump. And even Neil deGrasse Tyson, right, he was like, edge of space jump, right? Because he says it wasn't really in space. So the point of bringing it up, it's like, well, wait a second. 5 different people are claiming that you can't see any curvature of the Earth unless you're at this location, this altitude, or, on the top of a building, right, with the couple of examples I gave there of each of those peoples, or persons, I should say, they're each given an example of, well, no, you got to be at the sea to see it, you got to be at the top of a building to see it, you got to be in an airplane to see it. And then the world famous, scientist, right, the world famous astrophysicist, who most people would respect and look up to and believe his, his teachings. He says that you can't even see any curvature of the Earth from 127,000 feet. So it's like, well, wait a second. All five people are giving me different answers. So what one of them's right? And if one is right, well, then that means the four others got to be wrong. So it's like the question is still out there: is at what altitude can a person see the curvature of the Earth? And then people try to do is they'll show these high altitude weather balloons footage, and they'll show, we'll see, well, there's the curvature of the Earth, but there's a problem though, is these high altitude weather balloons, the cameras, they have a fisheye lens on the camera, so it distorts the image. And you'll notice on a lot of these um, balloons, when they're launched, if you look at the whole footage, you'll notice that the Earth is already curved when they're just a couple of hundred feet off the ground. So how is it that if it really is a real curve of the Earth, right, not just a distortion of the camera, how is it that you see just as much curve of the world at like 2, 3, 400 feet off the ground as you see at 50,000 feet, right? Why is it the same amount of curvature? Why? Because it's not real. It's just the camera lens that's giving you that delusion. And to also prove it as well is sometimes when the camera moves, when it falls back down, it makes it into like a convex shape. So the Earth like curves upwards, just proving that it's a distortion of the camera, not a real curve that people are actually seeing from these these cameras. And another nail on the coffin for that with the dog cam cameras is there's been many cameras that have been set up to 127,000 feet, or as high as we can get, without the weather balloon popping it, without a fisheye lens, and it's completely flat. You cannot see any type of curvature of the Earth from that altitude. So again, the question needs to be asked. It's like, well, at what altitude can a person with their own eyes witness the curvature of the Earth? Another good example would be dealing with, say, for an example, the sun, right? Because in school we were told that the sun is 93 million miles away from our Earth, right? Now, the problem with this, understanding that we were given is, for one, it's like, well, how exactly do you know that it's that far from the Earth? And two, how could the sun actually be 93 million miles away if we have multiple photographs taken from an airplane above the clouds where you can see right under the sun, there's a intense hot spot, excuse me, on the surface of the clouds right underneath where the sun is. So that indicates that the light source has to be very close to the top of the clouds. Otherwise, you would not get any type of hot spot directly on the clouds underneath the sun, undeniably proving that the sun is not 93 million miles away. Or another thing, I even noticed this 2 days ago, which I've seen it many times before, but I happened to notice even 2 days ago when I was in the parking lot. I was looking at the sun because it was cloudy out, and you see angular rays coming in different directions, from where the sun's at, right? And the sun, the clouds around the sun in that area were, like a thick brightness on them compared to all the other clouds, right? So it's like, well, wait a second, why the hell are these clouds right by the sun lit up at a much greater magnitude compared to all the other clouds? And why are there rays of light coming through at all different angles if the sun is 93 million miles away from the Earth? Shouldn't the entire sky be lit up the same? I mean, that's a fair question. And then another good question is, like, say for an example, at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, you can't even look at the sun for like 2 seconds without, hurting your eyes. But when the sun's going down, right, when it's the end of the day and the sun's going down, you can look directly at the sun and it won't hurt your eyes. It's like, well, wait a second, why the hell would that be possible? How can that happen if the sun is the same distance from the Earth and is the same temperature, giving off the same amount of heat and light, why would it hurt your eyes if it's directly over you, but then not hurt your eyes if you look at it just a few hours later when it's setting? Something doesn't make sense about that. And then another thing I wanted to comment on is, dealing with the moon missions, which everybody at this point knows that the moon missions were fake. I mean, they've done polls now, where they ask Americans, do you believe the moon landing? And they say the numbers like what? I want to say like 47%. You can look it up online. The number of Americans that are skeptical or, believe the moon mission in, 1969 was a hoax. It's about like 47% of Americans are at least skeptical of the moon missions. You can look it up. So it's like, the moon missions, obviously that's all bullshit. But you know what gets me? Like some of these Israelite camps, and I'm not saying this to bash on, any of them, but I'm just simply saying it doesn't make sense. Some of them will be like, well, yeah, we don't believe in the 69 moon mission, but then they'll turn around and use the images that NASA gives and use NASA's information about outer space. It's like, why the hell would you trust a known liar, right? Why would you trust a liar? Like, say, for an example, what is that scripture? Ecclesiasticus, I want to say 12 and 10. It says, never trust your enemy, for as iron rust, so does his wickedness. So, if NASA lied about going to the moon in 69, why would you trust the information that they're giving you about space in 2023? Why would you trust a known liar? And what I'm more so wanting to get on about the moon, right, is besides, the moon missions, we all know that's all fake, so we don't gotta elaborate on that. Hell, even most globe believers believe the moon missions are all staged. But the reason I'm bringing this up, it's like, here it is in 2023. The scientists working for NASA, they say, we're still trying to work out a way to safely get people, to the moon, from the Earth. We don't know how to get them safely through the radiation belt known as the Van Allen radiation belt, right? We don't know how to safely get people through that without them, burning up and, dying due to the radiation, right? And then second of all, they say, we don't really have the technology to take people, past low Earth orbit. It's like, wait a second, what the hell? Didn't you guys go there in the 60s? And here it is, we are 50 years later, and you guys are claiming that you can't get past low Earth orbit? I mean, does anybody think about that? It's like something weird's going on here. And then they say, oh, we destroyed the technology from the 60s. We destroyed the technology that we used to get to the moon. It's like, wait a second, why the hell would you destroy the technology that took you to the moon? And second of all, let's just give a hypothetical. Let's say they did destroy it for whatever reason. Now that they destroyed it, why can't you just build it again? Is it really so difficult in today's day and age where everybody is walking around with a phone, right? Hell, there's more people on Earth that have a cell phone than there are people that have access to running water or a working toilet. Look it up. So it's like, so today you can't figure out how to reconstruct technology that's 50 years old. I call bullshit on that. That's clear. If you can't see through that, then you're a dumbass if you can't see through that. I mean, I don't know what else to say. If you can't see it, there's something going on, then you're a damn fool. Just that simple. If you can't see that your government's lying to you about something, I mean, you're lost. You're lost. That's all I can say. It's just ridiculous. And then another thing about the moon, and I haven't seen anybody else question this other than me on YouTube. I've seen no other person make this statement about the moon. And here's what I gotta say. Again, I saw nobody else make this connection. Taking into consideration that NASA is making, 50 some $million a day of your tax paying dollars, right? 50 million. I believe it's 52 million. You can look it up. That this organization is getting every 24 hours of the American taxpayer dollars. Now, why is it that in 2023, we don't yet have a live feed from the surface of the moon. Why is it that after getting these hundreds of billions of dollars of our hard-earned cash, why is it that they can't even give us a live feed from the surface of the moon, just a live stream? I mean, shit. Elon Musk supposedly has, the what is this thing? The Tesla car with this the Starman they call it. He's supposedly put that out there for fun, which that's a different story because that don't make sense. Even he said, so I'm nearly paraphrasing, but even Elon Musk joked around about it and said, oh yeah, and I'm nearly paraphrasing, but he said, yeah, it looks so it's funny because it looks so fake or something like that. You can look it up, his statement on Google. You can read it. Um, but it's like, why the hell don't we have a live feed from the surface of the moon? I mean, shit. You guys went there in the 60s and could broadcast it live to the world, right? So why the hell can you not go back and, set up some type of recorder that is live facing the Earth so anybody can watch the Earth from the surface of the moon? It's like, why didn't nobody come up with that? You know why? Because they can't go to the moon. Because it's all fake. It's all deception to play on the minds of the masses of the people, right? Outer space. There's no such thing as a infinite space, right? Outer space, as you were told in school, it's all a lie. Now, is there some type of space? Well, as far as the sun, the moon, and the stars, I mean, yeah, they're technically above the Earth, so those are all real, of course. But they try to say that there's like a septillion planets that are out in the universe, and that just simply is not true. That simply is just not true. You know what gets me? It's like they supposedly have all these satellites out there, and these rovers on like Mars or whatever. And it's like, well, how the hell are you guys getting internet connection, millions of miles away? How the hell are you guys getting any type of connection with the what is this thing? The Curiosity rover that's on Mars? How the hell are you guys getting any type of connection to receive any data back, from that? Let's say it did exist, just for hypothetical argument, right? If it did exist and it's walking around on Mars right now as I speak, how the hell are you guys getting any information back from it if it's millions of miles from the Earth? I mean, how the hell are you getting any type of connection? Because here it is, even on Earth, there's certain places where you can go, like the desert, the rainforest, the vast oceans, where you don't have access to any type of internet or cell phone towers, that you can't use them out there, right? You don't have any type of way to to have any type of connection to the outer world, right? The rest of the world, excuse me, right? So it's like, it just doesn't make any sense. It just makes no sense, this notion. So it's like, damn, if you're getting that much money from us, every single day, you should, have a live feed from the surface of the moon. Why would you do that? For many reasons. For one, your nation gets bragging rights. For two, they would just be cool that people could watch the Earth from the surface of the moon, right? We already have supposedly the 24/7 live feed from NASA. Everybody's getting tired of that now. Whenever you go over there, they only have what, like 200, 300 people watching it, right? And everybody's tired of that, right? Well, for one, it's fake to begin with, but even if it was real, people are tired of that. What would really get people interested if you guys went and put a a camera on the moon so it could be a live feed from the moon. That's what people would like to see. And then a whole nother thing that we got to talk about. I do remember back in 2016, 2015, they were talking about, well, we want to colonize Mars by 2030, right? We want to, start a civilization on the planet Mars by 2030, which is, as of now, is 7 years away. So obviously that's not going to happen, even if they could get there, right? They're too far behind. But my question is this. Let's give a hypothetical. If it was possible to travel to all these other vast, galaxies and all these other planets and actually, build a civilization there. Let's say hypothetically that it could be done. Why would you not start off with the moon? Why don't we have a base on the moon right now? Why don't we have a colony or some type of civilization on the moon? Now, somebody would say, well, why would we do that? I mean, there's 100 different reasons why. For one, it's only, as they say, what is it, 238,000 miles from the Earth? So you can constantly send them more resources on the moon. You can constantly send more people up there. You can constantly, give them whatever supplies that they might need. And if anything goes wrong, you can send a rescue ship to take all those people back to Earth because they're only 238,000 miles from the Earth. And the more practical reason why you would do this is we get experience on how to live on other planets outside of the Earth. So we can learn the long-term effects that, the moon's, gravity would have on the human body. We could learn how to, farm on another planet. We could learn how to, find and create water on all these other planets. We can find out, I mean, the uses of this are endless. Why it would be such a great leap, inside joke, why it would be such a great leap for mankind. You know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous that I'm the only one who came up with that idea. It's like, well, how the hell are you guys planning on traveling to Mars and colonizing Mars? It's like, why the hell would you guys not first start off with the moon? Anything goes wrong, you could save the people because they're right there. If something went wrong on Mars, those people are all dead. Right? If they needed supplies that they didn't have or ran out, you couldn't get it to them. But if they were on the moon, they're just right there. And again, you can gain all of the experience that we need before we travel into the vast universe. We could get all the experience we need by colonizing the moon. And again, I know it's impossible to do. I'm just simply giving a hypothetical. If they could do it, why the hell would they not start off with the moon before trying to, colonize Mars? It's just ridiculous. And as far as the Bible goes, there are plenty of verses in the Bible that do support that the earth is, a motionless plane. I mean, hell, there's verses in the Bible that literally say the earth is motionless and that it doesn't move. And then, you got other verses speak about a firmament over the earth, such as, what is that scripture? Job, what is that, 37:18, I want to say. It's Job 37:18 or Psalms 37:18. You can look them up. Where it speaks about the firmament as being a hard, strong, molten looking glass. And then we see another verse in, what is this, Job chapter 11, verse 9. And I'm nearly paraphrasing this going off memory. You can look all these up. Says that it's broader than the sea. Right? The length of it is broader than the sea. Look up the verse. Right? How can something be broader than the sea if the sea is curving? I mean, well, that's why it's called sea level, because the sea is a level. Very simple to understand. Let me see. Another one that people try to go to is this is like the most popular one that people try to pull is, what is that scripture? Isaiah chapter, what is that scripture? Give me a second. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 22, right? Isaiah 40:22. Right? It says that the earth is a circle, right? He sits upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers in his sight. Right? You can read it. Now, the circle of the earth. Well, for one, a circle and a ball are two different things. A dinner plate is a circle, right? Or if you go to Domino's and order a pizza, right, a full, 12 slice or 8 slice, depending on, what size you get, pizza, that's a circle, right? But is it a globe? Is it like a ball? No. And Isaiah knew the difference between a ball and a circle. That's why he said, and what is that scripture? Isaiah chapter 22, verse 18. I'm nearly paraphrasing. It says, "He'll violently turn and toss thee like a ball, into a foreign country. So Isaiah knew the difference between a ball and a circle. All right, so again, a dinner plate, a frisbee, a car tire, a a cap to my Gatorade bottle. Those are all circles, right? But those are not spheroids. Very simple to understand. Now, as far as, why would they lie about this? Because another thing that comes up, people ask, it's like, okay, well, like what would be the motive for, the governments to lie to the population? If the world truly was, not a globe, what would be some of the motivations for why they would hide this secret from the world? Well, one of the most important reasons to hide this is because if you do some research on what's this dude, Admiral Richard E. Byrd, right, which he went down to Antarctica, in the 1900s, and I want to say what was it, like the 1950s, to do some military, exercises down there. But it's very interesting. There was an interview that he did, about his experiences down there, and he mentioned, that there's a landmass down there that's as big as the United States that is full of resources that nobody's ever really inhabited before. You can look up the interview. Now, whether it's true or not, I mean, hell, nobody knows. Because you're not allowed to go to Antarctica to prove or disprove these things yourself, right? Hell, if you're a globe earther and want to go and disprove the flat Earth, you can't go do it. You're a flat earther, want to try to find the dome or find the next pond. You can't do that. There's something called the Antarctic Treaty. Look that up, right? It's a treaty to where nobody, no independent person or corporation is allowed to independently explore Antarctica. It's off limits to everybody. You try to go down there, you get turned around at gunpoint. Look it up. There's plenty of examples of people who try to go down there and venture who got turned around, by the governments who are, have their troops stationed out there. So why would they lie about this? I mean, there's plenty of reasons, more resources. But the true reason why they would hide this, right, or the most important reason why they would hide this, because say for an example, say there was trillions of dollars of resources out there, hundreds of billions of dollars of resources out there. It's like shit, they might get, send some small, groups of people to get them, but they ain't gonna risk, corporations going out there and somebody accidentally discovering the dome of the world, right, where the edge of the world, which when I say edge, don't literally mean edge you can fall off, but like the, world where the world ends and the firmament, the arch over the world begins. They don't want nobody finding that. Because once people find that out, especially in today's day and age, where you can upload a video and go viral overnight, that'd be the end there. That'd be the end of their whole, system that they created from this globe Earth deception. So they can't risk that. They'd rather not make the money and just put up a restriction so nobody has the option to even go out there and have the chance of even stumbling across this this barrier. But you see, the number one reason why they want to hide this is because it proves that the earth was divinely created and that there's a God of some sort that exists, that is responsible for creating this world that we live in. They don't want people knowing that, because if they do go down there and see that there's a dome over the world, it's like, oh shit, somebody's watching us. Now, whether that's, an advanced ancient civilization, whether it's the God of the Bible, whether it's something of some sort acted in the creation of the world, that they can't let you know that. They want to hide that from the world. They will hide the world itself so the population doesn't know that there's a God of some sort that created this place. And that's the number one reason why they have to hide this fact. They can't let you know that the world you live in is stationary. They can't let you know that this is the center of the universe. Why? Because that shows that mankind was special, right? That there's a purpose for human existence, right? Because, in the model of the world that we were taught, it's all just an accident, right? There was a big bang that happened, 13.8 billion years ago, they say, or something like that. Yeah, 13.8 billion years ago, there was a random explosion that took place called the Big Bang, and it was responsible for the creation of all life on Earth and all the galaxies and everything, right? Everything on Earth, came from a massive explosion of nothing, right? So, human life, has no reason, right? There's no reason, there's no purpose for human life. You're just going to live here and then you're going to die and be forgotten. And then they say, there's a chance that, the star could, explode, right? A gamma ray could hit the Earth and evaporate us all. And that, there's asteroids that can impact the Earth, possibly ending all life. And that there's, a possibility that, beings from another world can, invade the world. But that's a different topic. A lot of guys talk about, the UFOs. They say those are all fake. They're all fake. That's not true. The UFOs are in the Bible. Those are called God's chariots in the Holy Bible. Those are called the chariots of God in the Bible. So that's what UFOs are. A lot of guys get things misunderstood. Like, me and Mina Shareg would joke around a lot about, a lot of these flat earthers online would say they're selling people a flat earth starter kit, we call it. Meaning what? They a lot of them, and when I say, I'm not putting this on all of them just to give that understanding. This is most, like a vast majority of them believe these things, but this is not all of them, just to give that disclaimer. But most of them believe, dinosaurs are all fake, right? Dinosaurs are all fake. Then they say that all satellites are all fake as well, right? All satellites are fake as well. Then, they talk about, what else do these guys talk about? Oh, that UFOs are fallen angels, right? UFOs are all fallen angels, and there's going to be a deception to deceive the whole world by a UFO invasion, which is actually fallen angel demons. And then, they believe that, there's a hell that people go to, right? They believe that, if you're bad, hell, you'll go to hell and burn, right? And a lot of them believe that hell is underneath the world that we walk on, but that's a different topic. And, I could, go on. There's a lot of other things that, these guys teach that are not true. But by vast majority, a lot of these dudes teach this, and people just gobble it down without question. Like, I'll give an example, right? I've read this book by this character, Eric Dubay, and I've known Eric Dubay for years, right? I've, not known him personally, but I've, watched his content for a number of years. I disagree with him on a fair amount, but I agree with him on a fair amount. There's some things he says which are right, some things he says which are wrong. Such as example, I read his book, The Flat Earth Conspiracy, a very good book, a 9 out of 10 rating, very good information. Now, why do I not give it 10 stars? Well, one reason why is because there's a chapter in his book where he dedicates it to proving that dinosaurs are all some type of hoax to deceive the world. That's not true. Dinosaurs did exist. Dinosaurs did walk the earth. They just lived on Earth when humans did, and they got hunted out of existence through the centuries by humans. And there's plenty of examples that dinosaurs and man coexisted. You have the Inca stones, you have the, the A. Cambero figurines, look it up. You have a temple in Cambodia, which is 800 years old, that shows a stegosaurus on it. You have thousands of, cave drawings and temple inscriptions around the world that demonstrate multiple different, dinosaurs on their drawings. Just look them up. You can find them. There's plenty of good documentaries that exist online that people have taken, these images and, compared them, into like a compilation for you to, to listen to and receive some edification. So dinosaurs certainly did exist. They just lived on Earth when humans did. And they very recently, within the last couple of, centuries, all got wiped out by humans for a whole number of reasons. Could be for sport, could be for bragging rights, could be to protect their towns from these, creatures attacking their farm animals or their children. Could be for their skin, for their meat, for their claws, for their teeth. And there's 100 different reasons, why they would hunt these creatures out of existence. Just like even in the modern world, we have animals that are called endangered species, meaning what? That they are on a verge of extinction. So the government had to set up laws to bear with me a second. So the government had to set up laws in order to restrict people from hunting these animals because they could go into a extinction. Very simple to understand. So I just wanted to, speak on that subject for, about 40 minutes now. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on it, because as I said, I've been looking into this, for a whole number of years. I'd say about 6.5 years, right? 6.5 years, because it came out in, well, really, it came out in 2015, right? But I got into it in like 2016, and been looking into all the stuff ever since. You know what I'm saying? So, I can say that I'm certainly am convinced that the world isn't what we were taught in school. Because for one, you go up to people and ask them, well, how do you know, realistically speaking, without lying, right? How do you know that the world is a globe? Any logical and honest human would have to answer, one of these three things. I learned it in school, I saw it in the textbooks, or I saw it on TV. That's the only way you know that your world is a spinning ball. That's the only way you know, is because you saw it on TV, you saw it in a book, or that's what you were told at school. There's nothing else that anybody can say about how they know the earth is a globe. Then they say, oh, I saw the curvature for myself. No, you didn't. You didn't see the curve for yourself. I mean, shit, go argue with Neil deGrasse Tyson. He said you can't even see it from 127,000 feet. So why would I take your word for it if even this dude, the world famous astrophysicist, says that no human could even see any type of curvature from an elevation height of 127,000 feet? But this simp, the person that I'd be having a conversation with, they'd be on there saying, oh, you can see it from the top of a building, or, out of, your airplane window at, 37,000 feet. It's like, something doesn't add up about that. Right? There's something weird there. And then as far as NASA, going back to them, man, you know, um, especially with their images of the world, if you take a close look at some of these pictures of these globes, man, like the blue marble, there's plenty of problems with that. Even the maker of it, what's this dude? Oh shit, it'll come back to me in a second. What's this guy? Um, his name will come back to me in a second. But this dude that made the blue marble a picture, right? Even he said, "Hey, this thing, it's photoshopped, right? It is photoshopped, but it has to be, right? It is photoshopped, but it has to be." And then if you look at the globe, if you look at all these globe pictures, especially the blue marble, you'll notice that there's duplicates of clouds, right? Clouds have been copied and pasted onto the globe in different areas, sometimes right even next to each other, right? So it's just, people ask, well, why don't you trust NASA? That's like, well, shit, that's why I don't trust NASA. They're lying. They come back to me, Robert Simmons, right? Robert Simmons, look him up, right? Even Robert Simmons, which is the man that made the blue marble picture, even he said it's Photoshop. And even he said he had to add certain things onto it to make it look to, like, as he said, what he would imagine it to be. Look it up, right? So why do I question NASA? Because they've admitted that they're fraud. Even what's this guy, Buzz Aldrin? He was in an interview one time, and there was a kid that came up to him, And you can look this clip up online if you want to listen to it yourself. But a kid came up to him and asked him, why has nobody ever been back to the moon yet? And then he responded and said, yeah, that is a good question, right? That's my question. And then he said, but you see, the truth is because we didn't go there. It's like, wait a second, what? You guys didn't go there. So it's like, shit, even he's coming out and admitting that they didn't go. So as I said, all of this information, and then I didn't even mention, there's hundreds of videos on the internet of people that have, reviewed the footage from these, ISS live feeds and, the spacewalks. And if you look closely on some of these spacewalks, you can see, bubbles coming up, from the ISS or the astronaut suits. And as far as their live feeds from inside the ISS, if you look close, there's certain spots on these feeds where you see things glitching out, where you see harnesses attached to people. It's like, wait a second, what the hell? Weren't you guys supposed to be in space? So why is there evidence of some type of manipulation going on behind the scenes? Something isn't right here. You know what I'm saying? So again, taking all of these, facts into consideration, it just doesn't there's something going on there that's not right. Another thing I wanted to comment on, you got all these idiots going around talking about, oh, the earth is billions of years old, there's no God. The earth, it's all evolution, right? Evolution is what created this world. It's like, no, that's not true. One example I like to give to undeniably prove that the world is intelligently designed would be, well, how is it that, well, of course, going by their math, they say the sun is 93 million miles away, moon is 238,000 miles away, roughly. So why is it that even though they're a vast mileage apart from one another, how is it that they both look the exact same size in the sky? And they are in a position where they can just pass over one another. Right? There's certain times where the moon and the sun can pass each other. So again, it just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I'm gonna say shalom.